Just as by examining the keyboard of a typewriter, you cannot imagine a book that is to be typed by that machine in the future. If you see an advanced computing machine, you can see only the physical aspect of it, but you cannot understand what it does when applied, unless you are specially trained in computer's work. Same thing with this keyboard center, energy center. Each center having a sound center, some of the sounds of the alphabet in each center. Whenever you want to utter a particular sound, that particular center is to work. And due to the computer mechanism, due to the memory mechanism of that center, and due to your previous feeding of that center with information, you are able to handle the machine, any sound you want to utter. And if you press this key, the tongue utters R. If you press another key, it utters V. Just as the trained typewriter is typing at a high speed, we are using this keyboard at a high speed every moment, every minute, every second. But we are so much accustomed to use it that we are not at all conscious of the keyboard. The same centers have a keyboard for color also. Whenever your eye has to see a particular color vibration, that particular center is called forth. That particular nerve makes your eye tuned to that color. The result is you see that her shirt is yellow, that this bottle is blue. So there is a third center called sound center.
Yeah, the sound for this sound.
The first is the uttering center. The third is the listening center. It also works in the same way. So each of these energy centers have a fivefold significance: a sound center, a color center, a smell center, a shape center, the center of the touch. So these centers are working. Whenever there is something wrong in our feeding the computer machine, our results are awfully bad. So what we call our reasoning is nothing but the result of our previous feeding the machine. Our reasonability depends upon how we feed. As long as we feed facts, our reasonability will be based on facts. And our reasoning is nearer to truth. It will be nearer and nearer the impersonal reasoning. Now, what is it that makes the error? What is it that makes the oil impure? Among these centers, we have the base center which controls the solids of the physical body. And you have the second center called Swadhisthana, which controls the heat of your body, the calories of heat produced. And the third center called Manipura, which regulates and controls the water content in your body. And the earth center or Anahata, it regulates and controls the pulsations of your constitution, so that it regulates your respiration and heartbeat. The throat center called the Vishuddhi center, it controls the vehicles that form the gateways between space and your consciousness. You are standing in space, and if you want to understand yourself different from your vehicles, you are nothing but the space in the vehicle. The space in the vehicle existing in space. Just as a vessel is existing in space, there is outside space, there is the space inside the vessel. Understand your vehicle as a vessel. It is there in space. There is space in the vessel. And what is the function of the vehicle? Because you are the space inside, you are not the vehicle. Herein lies the proper understanding of what we are. We are nothing but the space in the vehicles, we are not the part of the vehicles. The inner space is called I am, the outer space is called space, and the vehicles are produced by space. The consciousness of space produces vehicles because it wants to live as many, and because it wants to communicate, it wants to speak and listen, it wants to see and be seen. Space wants communication. It produces vehicles of communication with such a good mechanism. If you can present a more scientific understanding of what you are inside, then you are welcome. Until then, let us take this as standard. Because this is not my understanding, this is the understanding given by the ancient scriptures. I am just presenting the facts before you in an understandable way. And the part which you call the Vishuddhi Chakra, it forms the channel for communication between the inner space and the outer space. Channel is what we call sound. Then there is what we call the Broca center or Ajna center. It controls and regulates what we call the mental mechanism. So, solid, fire, liquid, air, and space or even mind. These are the regulating centers, and the inner space works through these centers, and the inner space in the other person is communicated, and the two spaces communicate with each other in the name of two persons. So, when the vehicles are pure, the communication is realistic. When the vehicles are defective, when the function is defective, then the reasoning is defective. So there are two sources of error. One is a bad instrument, and the other is a bad feeding of a good instrument. And an instrument is made bad when we behave bad with the instrument. That is, in terms of our food and drink, our sleep and work, and our habits. If we misbehave, we will have a bad instrument in no time. And the second possibility is, if we do not care to feed the instrument properly on the higher supraphysical planes, that is, if I try to understand in my own way, if I have impressions about others, I communicate with my impressions, not with you. Though I believe that I am talking to you, I will be talking with my own picture of yourself and not yours. I may have an impression that you are a deceit and a cheat. So, I will be communicating with the cheat in me, though I believe that I am communicating with you. So, this is the second source of error. The first source is eliminated when we begin to behave well with the instrument in terms of food, drink, work and sex and sleep. And the second thing is, I should try to clean the smoke daily and keep the chimney clean every day, as long as I want to use the machine. I have to clean the chimney daily. That means I have to wash my impressions about others daily, once or twice. That is what Patanjali says, the scientific way of meditation. And then we have our reasoning impersonal. What about emotion? If the oil is adulterated, the flame is colored. That is what we call emotion. There is the oil supply in the third center, which we call the navel center or Manipuraka center, because it controls the liquid content in our constitution. The intake of water is controlled and regulated by it. The appetite to drink, what we call the thirst, is produced and regulated by that center. And the water that is taken in is properly distributed in the constitution to replenish the tissues and also to give a wash through the blood tissue, and also to gather all the impurities and the toxic material, to bring them to the kidneys and to excrete it out to keep the water content pure. But when the impurities are produced, they travel in the water, dissolved in the water content in the constitution, and the result is what we call emotion. That is conditioned emotion. There are two types of emotional conditions. The one is easily curable. The second is curable, difficult to cure, though not impossible. Suppose you are using some water in the fridge to make an ice block. Then you will have a pure ice block. But if you use orange juice or lemon juice, you will have an ice block of orange or lemon, but not pure. Then you can say that the ice block is emotional. Of course, that's something good. When the ice block is placed on the table, your grandson has thrown ink upon it. Now your ice block is just blue. What to do? You can wash it. Then the ice block is once again pure. This is what we call the temporary emotional conditioning, which can be removed easily. By changing the environment, you can change the color of the face. By changing the quality of the conversation, you can change the smile of the person. But it is only temporary. Suppose when you place the water in the refrigerator, just your grandson goes to the fridge. He puts some ink in the water and closes the fridge. After 2, 3 or 4 hours, you will take out the ice block. It is blue like Lord Krishna. And now what to do? If you wash the ice block, it cannot be purified because the boy has thrown ink in the water before it is made ice. This is what is called chronic emotional conditioning, which cannot be cured by changing the environment or by changing the conversation. We have 2 types of emotional conditioning. You have what we call the ductless glands. Ductless glands, the pineal gland, thyroid, thymus, adrenals, kidneys, etc. And each of these carry a bottle of ink with a different color. And each of these ductless glands is like your grandson. He is ready to play the mischief by throwing the ink in the water of your blood, and then there is the crystal of your impression produced, and it is essentially colored. So we behave emotionally. I carry my own impression about you, which is thoroughly disagreeable. And when I know that you are coming, I change the color of my face. I begin to behave in my own way, not in my natural terms. I cease to exist, and the devil of my emotion begins to live with you. This is how we live with emotion. This is how husband lives with wife and wife lives with husband. This is how father lives with son and son lives with father. This is how the brother lives with the brother. Because the secret is, the wife is wife to the husband and she is not a wife to herself. The idea of wife is only the conditioning of the mind of the husband. If you make a medical examination of the blood of the wife, you do not find anything like wife in it. And what the wife calls husband is only an emotional condition of the wife. No husband exists in the metabolism of the physical. Wife exists to the husband. Husband exists to the wife. But the two exist as two humans produced by nature. So, our impression about wife or husband or son or brother, they are all the conditionings of emotion, and they are necessary. Without it, there is no life at all. Without a friend, how can you live? If you see only a skeleton and flesh and blood and bones and teeth and not a friend, is it possible to live? If the medical student sees only the bones and the circulatory system and the muscular system and not the wife, if the chemistry professor finds a bundle of chemicals and not wife in his wife, then life is not worth living. It is better to kill oneself immediately than to live a bleached living. So, emotion is a necessity in nature, but only to a certain extent. It should make life enjoyable. It should work as the pep and the spice in our life. And spices are used to get the food digested. And if spices are independently eaten without food, if there is no nutritive and if there is only spicy thing in the food, then as soon as we eat, it eats us. Similarly, the same is the case with the emotions. The emotions are expected to work as the pep of life. As long as we are unevolved human beings, we are expected to get engaged like children. Okay? We are expected to be entertained by emotions. As long as we are children in evolution, more necessary. We can appreciate wife without emotion. We can appreciate husband without emotion, because it is not the beastly sex that makes the husband and wife live together, but it is the higher truth of companionship that makes the husband and wife live together. So when we begin to step into the next world of understanding, the world of companionship and brotherhood, then we no more require these emotions. We need a pure oil, so that the flame is not colored, because we have no more fancies for colored flames. That is what is called the next step in evolution, spiritual evolution of the human being. There we are expected to enjoy satisfaction, not due to anything, but satisfaction as an independent entity. And we have to enjoy beauty not found upon any form or shape, but you have to locate every form and every person in your light of beauty. And happiness is not conditioned by anything, because you have known how to be happy. Before that, you will seek and search for happiness, and at every step disappointed, because happiness cannot be purchased by a second thing in this world. It is second to nothing. And if we believe that there is something which can purchase happiness, that means we believe that there is a costlier thing than happiness. Then our logic is to be pitied. Really, it is the logic of a donkey to believe that something is more valuable and costly than happiness, and that happiness can be purchased by something else. So a series of disappointments make us understand that happiness exists with us as happiness. When we begin to be happy, it is happiness. Then everything contributes to our happiness. As long as we seek happiness through something else, we are threatened by the shadows of happiness. When we begin to live happily, everything contributes to the happiness, and you require no more emotion. Then it is replaced by the pure oil of the life experience, and your head is no more burdened by the impressions of others. You will see only persons and no impressions. You will talk to them just as space speaks to space, and you will know how sweet the experience is, and then you will experience the pure life. So this distillation process is expected of us when we come to the human side of evolution. This experience is called inspiration. Inspiration replaces emotion, just as pure oil replaces the impure oil. No doubt, the oil is pure even when impurity is there, because oil cannot be polluted with impurities. When you add many dirty things in water, you can see that the water is dirty, but spiritually speaking, chemically speaking, water cannot be made impure. Water is pure, and you can make a distillation of pure water out of the impurities. Similarly, when you had emotions and impressions about others, it was the pure consciousness that was working in you, but there is a smoked glass in between. Similarly, the flame is smoke, though fire is not impure. Fire is always pure, but it is made to appear impure. That is what we call misery, what we call unhappiness, what we call malice, hatred, fear, jealousy. These are the various aspects of unhappiness which are not there exactly, but which are produced by us and experienced by us. When we know how to distill the oil through a scientific process which Patanjali calls yoga, then we know that the experience of life is pure, and the happiness is not conditioned by anything, and therefore happiness has no end. When we have a cause for happiness, we have a fear that someday we will be unhappy when the cause is removed. If I get a $50,000 today, I may feel happy, but I remember that tomorrow I may be unhappy when $40,000 are stolen from me. So when happiness is conditioned, it is bound to end. But you will come to such a stage that happiness is not conditioned. Happiness will be your nature, and then the pure experience of life which is called inspiration is there. Then your reasoning will be impersonal reasoning. And then what you see about others is only what is reflected in the mirror. Because you have nothing to see in others. Others appear in you as they are and not what you see them. You have nothing to see in them except divine existence, which is pure and sweet. Then all these details are understood in the true perspective with an uncanny precision. Your understanding is neither more nor less than what is there, because you stopped to understand and understanding came to you. Then we speak only the truth, because we can't speak that which is not there. We see that which is there, and we can't see what we want to see, because we have nothing in us which we want to see. Such a sight is called intuition, and what you see is bound to be true and nothing else. Before attaining that stage, we may be foolish enough to understand intuition as something miraculous, or we may think that emotion is something magic, something supernatural. But there is only what is natural in nature. There is nothing supernatural and natural except our wrong understanding of natural things. You need not wonder that the mirror shows the same face as you have, because the mirror has no impressions about you. It has nothing to see in you. You want to see yourself in the mirror. So whatever the man of intuition sees is true. When you question about something, whatever he speaks is true, and you will wonder that he answers correctly, and when he does not know, he answers things correctly.
Question.
When you question him about anything, he will answer automatically. You may wonder how he answers without knowing, but the fact is, he has neither knowing nor not knowing. He is a mirror who received your question and reflected it as your answer. In such a state is what the masters call intuition in its true sense. Of course, many of us call many wrong things by the name of intuition. But in the yogic language, intuition is called Ratambhara. Patanjali also called it Ratambhara. Ratam means an expression of truth. For example, the respiration. You need not know that there is respiration. The boy who is newly born does not know that he has respiration, but respiration takes place in him. He need not know what oxygen is and what carbon dioxide is, but he is made to inhale only oxygen.